Okay, so this is part 9 of the video that I'm going to talk to you about. So I bring us back to this screenshot of our handout at the beginning of your document on this with it. Now, I want you to focus on this tic-tac-toe table that you're looking at with it. So you got all the bells and whistles lined up, and now you have to assemble this. You have to the activity main activity underscore main.xml is a file that pull all of the parts together with it: the color, the structure, the view, the buttons, all the stuff that you have. This is where it comes in right now. Okay, so let me come up here and show you what it looks like from scratch, from the beginning with it as well with it. So this is our document that I sent you with it. So this is the simulator with it, and this is what your coding is here. All right, this is what the finished product looks like with it. There's two things on here. If you look at where my cursor is hovering on about, you can see my cursor is pointing about this area right here with it. Let me see if I can actually use some pointers here. Guess not. So in this pointer, it shows code. I'm open. Once you open the activity underscore main.xml, it gives you these three options. It's code, split, or design. Can you see that? It's next on the top, about 1/3 with it. And let me zoom in a little bit. This is what I'm talking about. I hate to zoom in on a Word document, but can you see that? It's this part right here. Okay. All right, right upper left-hand corner of this right now. Let's see here. So this is the code, the split, and the design. This is what I'm talking about. It's this part right here. So we're going to actually come over and look at the code. But before we do that, I want us to look at this grid right here for a moment. All right. We got all the lines and everything's all built up with the same. That's just to give you some definitions before we go into the stuff with it as well. Whatever layout it has for you, we have to change it to a linear layout with it. That's the first thing. All right. So we're gonna have to change this thing what's called linear layout, meaning it's flat, 2D with 2-dimensional with it as well. All right. That's a linear layout, 2-dimensional with it. And inside this 2-dimensional, what you're gonna do is you're gonna actually come in. You're gonna do a table layout with this. Inside this table layout with this thing, you're going to give it a table row. So this is the table layout with it. So this is a table that is like an Excel document, right? This top row is considered as row 1, row 2, row 3, or however you want to count this. Row 1, row 2, row 3. It doesn't matter, right? It's table row. Inside this table row, you're going to give it an ID number, row 0, and so on. And there's a left cell with a cell padding and cell spacing, and all that stuff with it, right? All that stuff you did on the XML file a few minutes ago with it as well. You're going to make it clickable. You're going to make it center. You're going to make it all this with the DP of a certain size of a font with it as well. So we're going to create 1 row, 2 row, 3 rows. So it's a table layout is what's going to be the parent tag, and nested inside of that table layout is you're going to have a table row. Inside of the table row, you're going to have a table view. You see how that works? So the table view is nested inside of the table row, and the table row is nested to the table layout. Everything I'm telling you right now, some of the stuff is on the final exam if you come across this question with it. This is one of the things I like to ask you, just make sure you understand thoroughly how it works with it as well. Again, table layout, nested inside of table row, and then inside of the table row you have table text view. and then the text view is what's inside, right? Remember how we do that with it. So how many table row are we going to have? Well, you got 1, 2, 3, 3 rows. You agree? So it's going to take 3 rows, and we're going to do the same thing for each one of the rows, and we're going to just probably change out the names for it as well. So the first row is going to be called row 0, right? Because we're computers. We count. Computers don't have names with it, numbers with it. We don't have digits with it. So row 0, row 1, row 2. So 3 rows, row 0, row 1, row 2. 3 rows, okay? So just want to clarify that. So it's like coding HTML, same thing. Table data, table row, and all that stuff with it, same thing. All right. So all right. Let me pause here for a second. It's almost 6 minutes with it. So before we start coding this XML part for this as well.